Tony Abbott has said that he wouldn't tie a debt guarantee to keeping jobs in Australia. Did you lobby hard to get that concession from him?
Now, we've said very clearly that the action we've taken today is action we have to take anyway, irrespective of the dialogue that we're having with the government. We need to make sure that this business is competitive. We needed to take out $2 billion of costs. We needed to address the balance sheet issues, and we needed to make sure we strengthen our position.
Was there a conversation about keeping future jobs in Australia in return for that debt guarantee?
No. So, and can I say that what we're talking about is a standby facility with the government. It's a facility that we don't believe we would need to use unless there's a time of crisis.
You might need to use it though, so it's taxpayers' money. So the question is, was there a conversation? Was there a conversation between you and the Prime Minister about guaranteeing Australian jobs into the future in return for that guarantee?
Can I explain first what we're talking about? The issue is about the standby facility is again not for the Australian taxpayer to pay for it. It's similar to what happened in 2008 with the banks and with the banks guarantee.
That wasn't just for one bank, it was for an industry.
It was, but then in the industry all have the same rules back in 2008, and there wasn't a distortion in the playing field that we clearly have today. And both sides of politics have recognised. Both sides of politics said that distortion's there.
I think, Mike, let's just go back to the question I'm asking, though, because what I'm trying to understand is whether the government is asking for anything in return. Has the government not asked you to protect Australian jobs?
Can I say that we are very clearly with the government talking about how we balance the playing field, and we're not talking about any way that the Australian taxpayer is paying for any levels of inefficiency. We have to make the changes we need to make to our business in order for it to be competitive.
So there's no guarantee on jobs? There's no discussion on jobs?
There's no, what I think I come back to is the comment that I made at the start. The best way to guarantee the security of Qantas jobs is to have a profitable, fit Qantas that can compete in the environment that it's in. That's the best guarantee. And I think that's the guarantee everybody wants to get to, that we have a business that is competitive, a business that can compete and can support the 27,000 jobs that are there. It's
not everyone. Virgin says you'll damage their business, and Rex said yesterday that you could grind their business into the ground.
But can I say that Virgin has these three airlines and the three governments supporting them. They have got an advantage with the policy settings that are there. I come back to it. I don't think anybody has said there isn't a distorted playing field here, and we're the only airline in the country that's subject to an act that restricts us in ways the other airlines don't have.
Is there a deadline for you? How long can you last if you don't get this guarantee?
Well, we have really been communicating both sides of politics about balancing this up. And I says there's two separate things that are happening. How we balance the playing field, how we do either a repeal of the Act, a change of the Act, or some sort of facility that helps us. And then separately is what we do in order to change the business and make the necessary change for the business to survive. They're both independent, they're both happening in parallel.
So what's the deadline? How long can you last?
I think for us, we want that to be fixed as fast as possible, and we've been very clear with the government that we need that to be fixed in the short term. We can't wait for the medium and the long term for solutions to occur, and the government is aware of that, and the government knows that short-term solutions have to be found.
But in the meantime, we know, I think, that there's no chance of the Qantas Sale Act being repealed with the current Senate, so you need the new Senate on side. Are you lobbying Clive Palmer, who's likely going to hold the balance of power?
We're obviously talking to everybody in politics about this issue. We've always, before the change of government, we were there as well.
And what sort of response did you get from Clive Palmer? Because he's been very negative on the subject.
Well, I'm not going to go into details about what each individual politician and discussions take place, but we need to keep our communication channels open. We need to explain the distortions that are taking place. I think we're getting very universal acceptance that those distortions are there and that people need to find a solution to fix it. The debate now is, I think, about the solution, because the distortion has been recognised.
Have you had any kind of response from the government about the announcement that you've made today, whether it's enough? They were calling for strong action. What do they say? I
think the government has always been very clear that it's up to Qantas to manage its own business, and we've had no dialogue about what this plan entails. We've had no dialogue about getting government acceptance for it in any way. That's up to the business to decide, and I'm a firm believer in businesses defining their own destiny. And can I say, again, we wanted to point out that we are making the necessary changes needed. We're not holding our SPC. We're doing the things that we need to do in order to turn Qantas around.
You wanted to go further. Did the board hold you back?
And no, well, I don't know. The plan that we have is the plan. We said in December it was $2 billion. There was no debate about going further or going less. This is a plan that management put to the board and the board endorsed.
Let's see how the government responds to your attempt to put the House in order. Thank you very much indeed, Alan
Thanks,
Joyce.
Sarah.
And we invited Prime Minister Tony Abbott and Transport Minister Warren Truss on for an interview, but they were unavailable.